Think about the number 7. 7% less acreage in Roma tomatoes planted in Mexico this year. That is an unbelievable number. It's everybody was chattering about how there would be 35% less tomatoes planted because of the tariffs, because of the problems in Sinaloa. Hard to bullshit a bullshitter. It is basically the same number of tomatoes that are planted this year as there were last year, which was a disastrous market. And the tomato crop, basically the strategy out of Mexico looks like, let's just hope Florida freezes out. So we're going to talk tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers by the numbers rather than by the cheap chatter. I've got my favorite tomato here that I like to munch on. It's the Hero out of Canada. Fantastic cherry tomato. We're going to talk about that in the future. Today, it's how the Mexican crops and what's been planted by acreage line up versus the crops up in the northern states and the lit culture in Canada, and how they meet in the marketplace and sometimes smash in the marketplace. We're on the homepage of the Bloom IQ mobile app, and we're going to go into real-time data and insights on Roma tomatoes. You can see a relatively active market right now on Romas coming from multiple areas. But let's head down into the commodity planner, and that's going to tell us what's happening for the year. And really we get to take a look at January, February, March, April, where Romas are largely dominated by the Mexican crop, and same thing this year. Very little planted in Florida, and the same number of plantings in Mexico. Big surprise there. We were expecting a significant decrease. Many thought 35% decrease in the Roma crop because of the tariffs, because of all the problems in Sinaloa. It just didn't happen. They're going to be planting the same number of hectares this year as last year. No migration over to the bell pepper crop. That looks exactly the same in terms of plantings. Orange down a little bit in the bell pepper crop, but same number of plantings generally in bells. So back to the tomatoes, you're looking at rounds down about 25%, but it's a small round crop, and out of Mexico, and grapes down about 20%. It is significant in grapes. They've pulled all the field grapes and down in the and stuck with the Mayas, down 20%, really largely driven by a lack of labor. Now let's talk about another crop that's down significantly, and that's the Eurocuke crop in Mexico. Right now, November, October, plenty of Euros planted in Mexico, taking advantage of the gaps at that time of the year up north. But last year they just got killed in Mexico in January, February, March, and April on Eurocukes. There were extra plantings because of peppers being pulled in Leamington due to some fungus. There's lights now up in the northern greenhouses that are growing cukes right through the winter season very economically. And so a big migration away from planting Eurocukes in Mexico. The crop about 40% down in terms of plantings. The labor is difficult in the winter. Labor migrates to berry crops, strawberries, blueberries, further south. And so many growers choosing to move away from planting Eurocukes for the winter crop. Still a possibility. They can still do it. But the math is against them in terms of that crop, with the Canadian consumer really wanting Canadian cucumbers, and so you see a large migration away from euros. So, in summary, the tomato crop relatively the same in Roma, same strategy. Let's pray for a freeze in Florida. Bell pepper is going to be exactly the same as last year in terms of plantings, and the cukes way down in euros and also down in the field cukes. So labor-intensive commodities down in Mexico in terms of plantings. Those numbers should bring some clarity to the tomato, pepper, and cucumber markets for the winter season. Lots of rumors out there, but it's great to go by the data and understand what the data is. Check us out at BloomIQ.io. Download the app and start using the data in some of your work. We'd love to hear from you and love to hear how you're using BloomIQ.